Welcome and good evening to the July 10th, 2017 Board of Selectmen meeting. I'd like to start off by first saying that, Will Kincaid apologizes for not being here due to a medical issue in the family, so we'll be one member short this evening. First item on the agenda is the signing of the warrant. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the signing of the warrant.
I also vote in favor. That's unanimous, 2-0. And next is the approval of the June 19th, 2017 minutes. That's both regular session and executive session.
I motion to approve the minutes is read.
Also vote in favor. That's unanimous. Next, we have invitation to speak. Is there someone here who's not otherwise on an agenda would like to speak? Gentleman back there with the shorts.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Bernie Earl. I live at 6 East Street, Milford, Mass.
Welcome, Mr. Earl.
Hi. I got two issues, and
Sure.
it may be related. I got a letter in the mail a couple months ago from the DPW stating that a few streets down in that neighborhood are going to be rebuilt. One of them being East Street, Haywood Street from Mount Pleasant Street to Central Street. I think Beach Street Extension and maybe Archer Ave, I'm not sure. During this conversation, I happened to catch the guy when he was out there marking out the street.
Yeah.
And during the conversation, he informed me that the whole street was going to be done, sidewalks, asphalt curbing, all the driveway aprons, and all the new installations for wheelchair accessibility at the end of the sidewalks. So I asked him, well, why did the sidewalk have to be all tore up? Because there's really only one and two sections of the sidewalk that's already damaged, and I'm sure that could be easily repaired, and there's nothing wrong with the granite curbing. And as far as my apron goes, he stated that it may not be ADA compliant. So I was thinking about that since I talked to him now, and I was curious, as if it's not ADA compliant, is that apron gonna be lowered or raised, and am I gonna have a bump in my driveway?
Yeah.
So and they told me, well, if you had any questions, just go to the Board of Selectmen and maybe they can do something, maybe not. But they tell me that, I guess because of the expense of putting granite curb and putting in cement sidewalks, it's astronomically impossible.
Okay.
Because they wouldn't be able to do half of the road rebuilds that they do if they did it, if they reverted back to granite curbing.
Sure.
And cement sidewalks. But I ride around town, and I see other areas of town being, where complete sidewalks aren't rebuilt, they're just tearing out old sections of the sidewalk and redoing them, putting in the ADA requirement things, and then moving on to the next road project or whatever, without doing the whole street in asphalt sidewalks and curbing.
Right.
So I was just wondering if there's something could be done about that. I don't know. Just
Personally, Mr. Earl, I appreciate you coming here, and this is the place
okay.
for exactly this type of question. I may not have the answer.
No, I understand that. That's
And I
fine.
certainly don't in this case.
Right.
I love it when the state directs you
This
somewhere.
isn't the state, this is the town.
Oh,
These
all
are-
right.
These are town roads.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's why,
These are
all right,
town
when
roads,
you
they're not
said
state
DP,
roads.
okay, so.
I meant the town.
Highway Department.
Right, exactly. I
Gotcha.
didn't mean the state.
All
These
right.
are town roads.
So let me do this. Let me get you with, I think the most appropriate thing is to have you meet with Mike Dean and Scott Crisafulli, and where Scott heads the Highway Department.
Correct. Yeah.
And Mike Dean is understanding of the engineering plans, how
Correct.
much, to a specific level, what, how far it goes and how far it's not going. Why don't we get them together?
Because I know I put that apron in years ago when I had my driveway redone. And in fact, 10 or 15 years ago, I had to replace a piece of that concrete on my apron.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with it. And
Yeah.
he said something about ADA, but it goes within the slope of my driveway.
Yeah, and I think you're owed sufficient response such that you're clear, and rather than have the Highway Department that's independently elected send you here, what I want to do is get you
That's
with the
fine.
town engineer and the highway commissioner.
That's
So
fine.
that, and we'll ask that Rick can facilitate
Okay.
having that happen. At least sharing of contact information. No reason why you would have to look out for everybody's availability. Let them work that. Ask Mike. I would just ask Mike to to do that. Because it's an engineering question, is what you've asked.
Correct, right, yeah.
And I want to get you to the engineer, the person most appropriate to answer it.
Right, and I know at years past, the town, the planning board and zoning board have forced developers to put in concrete sidewalks and curbing. So, I mean, why are the streets now all of a sudden being treated any different? I understand it's a money issue. That's the bottom line.
And yeah, I'm sure it is, but let me.
Where there's maybe only 2 or 3 sections of sidewalk that really have to be replaced. I don't understand why they have to replace the whole sidewalk and put in asphalt curbing and sidewalks.
All right, and you said you had 2 questions, so I just want to
Yeah,
make sure I get you the
this-
second one.
And, actually, there's a 3-part thing here.
Okay.
Okay, the next thing is parking down there. Okay, right on this corner of E Street and B Street, we've got, every once in a while, 3 or 4 cars that are parked right at the edge of the road. They're within, sometimes 5 or 6 feet of the edge of E Street going onto B Street. So you have to nose out beyond E Street to get onto B Street to look to see if there's anything coming. And I know it's not, I know a couple of cars are there, but this is constant all the time. So I was just wondering if you couldn't get a no parking from here to here sign erected, because right now, I just left home and 2 of the cars were within 6 feet of the road where Beach Street.
Of the corner intersection?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, we do this frequently. We usually do it on the advice of
That's fine too.
the
But-
town engineer and police chief, have them look at that intersection, see if there's good lines of sight. I know the area that you're talking
Well, I
about.
gotta. There's one picture right there. You can see, this is on 25th. Come on.
That's all right. Same thing happens to mine.
March 25th, you can see how close they are, because you can tell by the snowbank there.
Yeah, and-
that's only 2 cars.
And, so we will frequently put no parking here to corner because
Correct.
we want that line of sight available to the intersection.
Right, and every once in a while, it happens at the other end of East Street, where East Street and Haywood Street are, but not as much as this one.
East Street
and Haywood Street.
And Hayward Street.
Where it goes around the corner
Yeah.
to Central Street.
But your specific concern is which intersection? I want to make
Most
sure.
of the time is East Street and Beach Street, because that's the most dangerous one,
East
although
and
that Haywood Street is not all that great either.
You could have them look at that, look at the lines of sight, look at it
If
over
you're
a.
able to send that picture
Yes.
to me via email, that would help, and then
Yeah.
I'd have your contact
Yeah.
information, so I could set up the other meeting
All right.
also.
Yeah, okay, and the third part of this. Seeing as I'm digging up East Street to redo it, I got a letter from the gas company the other day stating that that if you want to change over to gas, that now would be the time to do it, because it may be 4 or 5 years down the road before you can do it again, seeing as it's gonna be a new roadway installed, and they're gonna dig it up anyway. So I asked with the gas company this morning, I was talking to them, and I already know that at one time, there was a gas line from B Street going probably maybe 50 or 60 feet up East Street from B Street, which was abandoned years ago, for what reason, I don't know. And so, a couple of years ago, I looked at putting gas. The only active line that we can get into on East Street is on Haywood Street, and that's 120 feet away. And I was kind of like, couldn't figure out their reasoning for putting in a 120-foot line from Haywood Street versus putting in a 50 or 70-foot line from Beach Street, or re-energizing that line that was abandoned years ago. So maybe somebody from this town can get a hold of the gas company, find out why someone would have to pay 120 feet of gas piping to come down the road versus 50 feet from Beach Street. That didn't make any sense to me either.
Have you
So-
worked with the utility to try to find that out?
No, but I talked to her this morning, the
Yeah.
girl, and she couldn't give any reasonable reason. She says that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But I don't understand that. So maybe we could, maybe it's the same thing with the town engineer, and maybe somebody can figure out why it would be this way when it's 75 feet shorter to go to Beach Street than it is to go 120 feet down to Haywood Street.
All right, maybe we can ask Scott to look into that
Yeah.
as well. Scott's working with the utilities. I know
Yeah.
that Scott coordinates with utilities, Mr. Christofouli.
Yeah.
Coordinates with utilities whenever he's digging up a road,
Right.
such that we don't do the road and then have a utility dig it
No,
up
because
again
I
a
already
month
know,
later.
I got another letter from a water company stating that they're replacing my water line from the street side to the shut-off because they say it's got lead in it. So
Okay.
that's under that other thing from the water company
Sure.
put out a few months ago.
I remember
So
that.
that's the same thing. My house, for some unknown reason, is involved in that.
All right.
But from the non-street side to my house is a brand-new plastic pipe we had put in some time ago. I mean, it was like maybe 40 years ago.
Well, most of your issues, we're going to try to coordinate having Mike Dean, our town engineer, and Scott Christofouli meet with you.
Right.
As it relates to roads and sidewalks
Correct.
and your specific situation. We'll also ask Scott to look into the gas.
Well, the gas company also said, well, there's only 2 houses on the street that are gonna be, yeah, right. I mean, but who wants to pay $9,000 to
Right.
have a gas line
Right.
put in if some future owner wants to own that house and put gas in?
And then,
And actually, it'd be a third house, because there's another house on East Street and B Street, but the address space is B Street. But I know if the gas company would go in there, they'd wanna go into the side of the house, which is on East Street, to connect them, if they ever wanted gas.
all right. And then
Actually, there's 3 houses.
on the, so we'll ask Scott to look into that for you. And then on the intersection issue and line of sight and safety,
Yeah.
we'll ask the town engineer and police chief to look into it,
Yeah,
get their
okay.
recommendations.
Okay,
All right?
that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Well, I feel they're all related to a certain degree.
Okay. You have your contact information that
Yeah.
you can share with Rick? Is there anybody else? Mr. Willick, we've already had discussions about past instances, so is there anybody else that would like to speak? Please.
Okay. Okay.
Hi,
Hi there.
Beverly Swimer.
Hi, Beverly.
Hi. I'm just here tonight to express my continued concern about the impact of retail marijuana sales in the community. And I know that that is an ongoing discussion and how we're going to move forward on it. So I just
So
want,
do you realize the part of the agenda, it may have been miscommunicated in the media, what we have on the agenda for this evening as it relates to recreational marijuana? And that is specifically information for the planning board, and it's to have them look into what types of, it would be bylaws, associated with planning and retail sales. Should the referendum be passed, they would have to have things prepared for town meeting as a follow-up for that. So we're not really having a discussion. You're more than welcome to make any comments you like, but I guess my point is, the discussion we're having is really remand to planning board to have them look at something.
okay, so my understanding was that there was going to be a discussion about the adjustment of the bylaw wording. Is that what is going to
That
happen?
is not scheduled for this evening.
Okay, all right, then my comments are addressed to
Okay.
that.
Did you want to save those, or did you
Yeah,
wanna
I'll
share
save
those?
them till,
Okay.
if you
when
want.
we have
it.
them on an agenda?
When you have them on, if that's in a more of an appropriate time to,
I think it would be more beneficial to you, is my guess, that when we take up that item on the agenda, any adjustments to the wording you could speak to?
so there is going to be an agenda item that calls for an adjustment of the wording of the new law for the referendum. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, why don't we do this? Some citizens from the town have asked this board, and members of this board communicated to this board, if they could, if the board could make adjustments to that language. Why don't we make that for the next, just place it on the agenda for the next meeting, and also give Jerry an opportunity to see that language and provide feedback. You need a copy of that
Okay,
language.
okay, that's what I'm asking. I will receive something.
Yeah,
to-
yeah.
Sure, okay.
Can you share that? Remember Donna's request?
Yes.
I think it was
Yep.
Donna.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll put it on the next item for the meeting.
Okay,
All right.
thank you so much.
And we look forward to seeing you again. Is there anybody else here?
I'd like to be
Mr.
recognized, please.
I've already spoken to you, so go ahead, Mr. Sanborn.
Good evening, gentlemen.
evening.
My name is
Good to
Bill
see you.
Sanborn. I just wanted to express my concerns about the fact that we do have 2 major decisions that are going to be made in the coming months. One about the referendum for retail and another about the water company. And in both cases, I believe, there's been a demand, a request to gain access to use the town hall, the facilities upstairs. And I want to impress the importance on setting dates sooner rather than later for the water company meetings, information meetings, so that we can plan as well for informational meetings for the referendum question.
Okay. No, that's a great point. Rick, are there any recommendations in terms of those dates that fit well around, I think the one that let me say this differently. I think the one that we have an obligation to do more information sessions is the Milford Water Company potential acquisition of that. Do you have any potential dates for,
I was hoping to discuss that with the board on Wednesday to set some dates, and then I think I spoke with someone on the proposed date that they want, which should work.
All right, so it's just-
I think the board's gonna do, so.
All right.
Again,
Planning two
So-
more, correct?
one anyway to start on the water company. If another is needed, we'd go to a third one, yeah.
Yeah, let's-
And that'll be up to the board.
okay,
But I hope to have that wrapped up by Wednesday, if the board, we
Yeah.
can have some dates.
That makes
And
sense.
then I could confirm with you, and that could be booked also.
and right now, what I hear is potentially no showstopper to the date, other than, because Rick has some suggestions, I'm sure, and there's some dates that work better as it relates to holidays and a whole host of things that are happening.
One other issue that could come up upstairs too, but
Okay.
we'll talk about on Wednesday.
Understood. I just wanted to impress the
All right, so
importance.
No, no,
we'll
fully-
know
fully
more-
cognizant of
We'll
that,
know
yep.
more midweek? Does
Okay.
that help you?
Yes, thank you.
We want to leave you sufficient planning
Yep.
as well. Thank you,
Are
Bill.
you refusing to recognize me?
Thank you.
Yes, and you and I have had that discussion before. I thought that was clear. I hope you're not going to interrupt the meeting, because we have a long agenda. Next item on the agenda is Richard's Food and Drink, changing of DBA, doing business as, and let me pull up that paperwork, because there was a public notice, or a notice sent to the license holder. Dear Mr. Wishman, Milford Board of Selectmen will act on your application for the above referenced licenses at a meeting scheduled for Monday, July 10th at 7 PM in Room 3 at Milford Town Hall. You're expected to be present, discuss this application with the board members. If you're unable to attend in person, please inform me as to whom may be delegated to represent you. And let me go over the specifics, because we do have information that I want to share just before I get to you that is relevant. As we would typically do, we reach out to department heads to have them review any requests to see if there are any concerns from the building commissioner, town planner, tax collector, or whatnot. And this is an allowable use, has been an allowable use, so there's no concerns from the building commissioner, town planner. So it states that there's obviously no change in use. The tax collector and town treasurer indicate no outstanding taxes or liens. The fire chief has no objections, and there's no objections from the chief of police. So with that, I'll let you introduce yourself, letting you know that all the boards have weighed in and don't have any specific concerns. I hope that helps.
Good evening, Selectmen. Thank you for your time. I understand that you do this freely of your own will. I'm obviously Paul Winchman. I've been the primary on this facility since, I think, 1986. As you probably know the history, I think we have a fairly great reputation in the town. As you just noted from the chief of police, we've been fortunate to have, I think, almost zero violations in approximately 30 years. About a year or so ago, we had, as a family, contemplated selling the property. I believe the potential owners came before you.
They did.
And I was under the impression that that was going to go through. There was a financing issue that stopped the deal, if you will. And with a little bit of time, my family's given it some considerable thought. And given the revitalization we've seen in the town, we've decided to stick it out ourselves instead of giving it to somebody else. So as you well know, I believe it's been recorded as Richard's Food and Drink, Inc. Since its inception with my family. And in honor of my father, we're going throwback. We're going to rename it to back what it was 30 years ago.
and which is Richards Roadhouse, doing business as Richards Roadhouse.
Yep.
So the specific request in front of us is to change the last approved doing business as Bison Burger, and the new requested license would be to request Richards Roadhouse. And given the reports that we have from the department heads and the review, are there any comments, questions?
Just a couple of questions I have. So the family's owned it since 1986.
I believe, yes, sir.
If I'm not mistaken, you have another restaurant in Medway, do you not? Kind of a
I've had-
upscale?
I've had several. I'm working my way down.
Okay.
I had as many as 6 locations in all the surrounding towns. I have sold everything except my location in Hopkinton, which is Zio's Quattro Inc.
Yep.
I'm from Hopkinton. And the Medway location is actually sale pending.
Okay.
So it was.
Really scaling back.
We were scaling back, and the decision was one or the other. And we decided to keep the Milford location and sell the Medway one.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
The only question I had is, what are the plans specifically for that? No problems, no concerns, but while you're here, what are the plans that you have going forward with Richards Roadhouse?
Well, ultimately, we've kept the building in excellent condition. I mean, considering that it's been a pouring establishment since, best my records say, I think the 40s. So the building inside and out is been well maintained. I mean, obviously, we could use a little work in the parking lot, which we intend to do. As far as actual fare, we're going throwback. We're basically going with a scratch kitchen Italian menu, which is what we had when my parents took it over 30-some-odd years ago.
Okay.
So it's a comfort food concept.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the transfer of the license.
And that specifically is going from, as I stated, Bison Burger to Richards Roadhouse. And with that, I'd second that and make that unanimous. So good luck. We wish
Thank
you a
you.
lot of luck, you and your family, and hopefully this next part of your business works out well.
Well, the town of Milford's been good to us over the years, so we're happy to stay.
Well, it's a two-way street. You've been good to us, too, so
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda is Town Administrator's Report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. A number of items tonight. First, the fireworks. I just want to thank Chief Tui, members of the fire department, members of the police department, and all others who helped put on a very fine show on July 3rd, 2017. Their hard work is most appreciated. Update on the MS4 general permit. We have now learned for certain that the EPA has agreed to a 1-year delay of the MS4 general permit, which was to be effective July 1st, 2017. It's now been extended and delayed to July 1st, 2018. This also delays the September 28th, 2017 due date for the filing of the notice of intent. The appeal of the permit will now move forward. This postponement will now provide cities and towns with immediate relief from the cost of immediate compliance with the permit until the appeal is resolved. I've been asked also by Representative Murray to remind people in Milford and other surrounding towns that in order to prepare for the upcoming 2017 construction shutdown to replace the Commonwealth Bridge over I-90, which will begin on July 26th, I-90 has been reduced from 4 lanes to 3 lanes in each direction in Boston between the Alston Interchange and the Beacon Street overpass. This lane reduction is now in effect and will remain in effect until August 28th. Mass DOT will strive to make the lane shift decisions in the best way possible to lessen the impact on drivers using the highway. An update on the Access Northeast project, the pipeline project. I've been informed by John Bonzo of Algonquin Gas Transmission LLC that they are withdrawing the Access Northeast project form from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission pre-filing review process, so that will not go forward at this time. Update on the fiscal year 18 state budget. I'm sure everyone knows the legislature has passed a $40.2 billion fiscal state budget plan. It does include the full $39.9 million increase in unrestricted municipal aid, which is the same increase that was originally proposed by the governor and voted on by the House and Senate. The budget also includes a $119 million increase in Chapter 70 education aid. That bill will now go to the governor. One final item to report. It is called the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program Grant. I'm pleased to report that Town Engineer Mike Dean has informed me that the town has been awarded a $20,000 grant under the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness, or MVP, program. This is the initial year of this program. It was established by Governor Baker to address climate change. The grant money will be used to complete a community resiliency planning process that will examine the town's vulnerability and strengths, which will then be used to identify priority actions to build resilience as the climate changes. This will help us better understand the impacts of various natural hazard events, such as intense precipitation and winter storm events. Once the planning process is complete, the town will seek to receive designation from the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs as what they call an MVP community. I want to congratulate and thank Mike for his work in securing this grant.
Yeah,
That's
give
all I
Mike,
have, Mr.
give
Chairman.
Mike our thanks, the board's thanks, and as I commented to you when the $30,000 grant came in, that you had applied for, these are all costs that might otherwise be spent, and if nothing else, some of these are avoidance to costs where taxpayers would have to kick in. So appreciate some of these grant activities, and Rick, I didn't see press releases, but you know, on both of those
I
grants?
have one ready to go on the initial grant, and I will be speaking with Mike on this also, yes.
All right, good.
Yes.
All right, great. Next, under old business, no items specific on the agenda.
I do have a topic I'd like to discuss, if you're
All
okay
right,
with
go
it,
ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, fine.
It was brought to my attention after the last meeting, when we had made all the appointments, the new appointments for this fiscal year, that one of the longest members on the Youth Commission was not reappointed. I apologize, it got by me, because when I got the phone call, I said, geez, his name wasn't on the list, and when I spoke to Rick and I dug out the sheet, in fact, his name was on the list to be reappointed. Not only is he one of the longest-serving members, he's a very active and very positive member, very involved in the community, born and brought up in the community, you know, a teacher and a coaching legend, does great things at the youth center, you know, with the children. So I did a little bit of research, and I found out from town council that the youth commission can have up to 21 members, and we currently only have 7 right now. So I would like to make a motion to appoint Steve Manguso to become the 8th member of the Milford Youth Commission.
Okay. Yeah, you know, I know it allows up to 22 and down as low as 3. I don't know that adding more people is necessarily the solution that I would be looking for, but you've got a motion on the table. It's not seconded, so I'll jump to other business, and unless you have something else you want to add.
No, we'll bring it up in another future meeting when we have a full
Yeah,
board?
nothing precludes you from, bringing it up again, sure.
Okay, thank you.
I also have a item for old business. It has to do with Archer Rubber. And Rick, I have to apologize. At the last meeting, I was vague in some of the wording I used. So I want to be more clear, because I know I wasn't clear the last time.
Yep.
We had talked about reaching out to the state, and we talked about it kind of casually.
Yep.
And it didn't give an action or specifically request you to do anything.
We have I do have a draft
You have a
letter for the
draft,
board's
okay.
consideration, but any more information you would like to give me, I'd be most
So you've acted on it in spite of our vague guidelines?
We do have a letter. I got to give credit to Mike Dean, did some research for me,
All right.
and he's helped me draft a letter, which I will have for the board in the next day or so, but it's
And let me
drafted.
provide context for people who weren't here or, paying attention now and might not have been at the last meeting. There have been a number of discussions about what might be viable options for Archer Rubber, the land there. The land is privately owned. It's not owned by the town, and I know some folks have talked as if it were owned by the town. Private land is either available for sale or not available for sale. But there are some specific concerns that residents have, including myself, frankly, as it relates to the possibility of contamination. Now, we know DEP has fined that location in the past, but more importantly, they were making products there for a very long time when there wasn't a DEP and when it wasn't as heavily scrutinized. Now, the significance of that land is important because not only is it central to our town, but it also, that building, in all honesty, resided over the Charles River. And so we have some very unique environmental concerns. We have some concerns, not just about the water, but the land. How that's being addressed, how that's being monitored, and specifically, I think the request is to have the DEP provide some oversight and some communication to the town and the Board of Selectmen. What the plan of action is, if there's any remediation, what's being done to monitor not only the land, but the banks of the Charles River and the water itself. And anything else that you can think of?
Well, I think at the last meeting I
Mr. Walsh.
spoke, if you talk to some of the seniors in town that grew up down in that area as children, depending on what day or depending what product was being made in the factory was the color of the river.
Right.
Because of the dyes from the rubber being used. So what I would strongly agree with the chairman, that's a line that we need to be involved with. And, you know, and the other one that we brought up is that there was some equipment down there a week or so ago jackhammering away at some of the concrete.
Correct, yeah.
We gotta be really careful what's underneath that concrete. We don't wanna expose anything to get out.
Okay.
We need to really monitor it tight.
Okay, again, we have,
Is that along the lines of what?
yeah,
you
it's, we've asked some of similar questions, but now I'll go back, we'll look
Okay.
at it again.
All right.
And you'll have something, at least for your review by the end of the week.
Rick, thank you for acting on a language that when I thought it through, we weren't
No
as
problem.
clear as we could have been, so thank you. Okay. Next, we have Milford Community Programs under new business, and specifically Special Olympics request. This request is from Jennifer Walsh, the coordinator for special programs for Special Olympics, and she's specifically asking to hold the road race, Milford Special Olympics, on Saturday, September 23rd, 2017, 9 a.m. She talks about the continued growth of the program and over 275 special needs students and adults who participate. They are receiving support, and the effort has grown with soccer teams, flag football teams, cheerleading teams, powerlifting teams. And to no surprise, Jen Walsh has taken something that started off rather small and grown it to what is a huge success. She's also received the help of Police Chief and the Tri-Valley Runners Club and their many volunteers. We also have a note from the chief in that they've done this in the past. They know how to organize this event safely, and with many of the players being the same, they know exactly what to do. So it also has, consistent with this board's requirement and request, that the police chief sign off when somebody's going to hold a road race and obstruct traffic. So is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept the Milford Special Olympics road race.
I would as well, and congratulate Jen Walsh, and look forward to a great event. Next, we have a request. Let me make sure I position this right. That we add to the traffic rules 2 15-minute parking spaces for the first 2 spots in front of 36 Spruce Street. And in addition, either a sign has gone missing or was damaged in an intersection or hasn't been there in a while, a no parking here to corner. And we have that request, and it also has the support of the police chief as well. So are there any questions, comments?
No, I
Okay.
would make a motion to accept.
I would second that motion. That's unanimous. Next, we have I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, there were two on that one page, Mr. Chairman, so.
Oh, okay,
little
they were
bit
split,
confusing.
that's
Yeah,
right, okay,
they came
all
on
right.
the same page.
All right,
yeah.
so we've approved both of those.
Both of those, yeah, F2 and F3.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Good, thank you. On F4, Jerry Moody sent us a note. It's basically the part of the discussion I had earlier. And Jerry basically writes, assuming for the purposes of the discussion, a ban is approved by the voters, then articles would be necessary. And it's worthwhile to get the process started sooner rather than later to let the article be submitted by the planning board for the next upcoming town meeting. Now, if the referendum is not passed, then we simply pass over that article.
Correct.
But it just positions it, so, Mike, have you had an opportunity to read this, and any questions or comments?
I don't, no, just for the general public, so they know a referendum vote is a two-thirds vote.
Yeah, no, the referendum vote isn't the change of any bylaws.
Right, okay.
So, with that, I'll take a motion to remand the planning board based on Jerry's recommendations.
I have a motion.
I'll second. That's unanimous. Thank you. Next, we have a request from another memo from town council asking that we include the Fair Housing Committee members and appoint as special municipal employees. Jerry goes on to say that through this process, all the other boards are special municipal employees, and for some odd reason, which we can't trace back, why the Fair Housing Committee wasn't designated as special municipal employees. So that just requires a motion and by this board and a vote by this board.
That's all, yes, Mr. Chairman.
Make a motion to accept.
All right, so I will second that Fair Housing Committee members will be designated special municipal employees. Next, we have a request from the finance director. Well, actually, in the absence of any other information, Rick, what prompts the need for these
Well,
transfers?
if I could, just
Please.
one at a time. The first one is the police department transfer. Basically, what happened, there were unforeseen costs related to tuition reimbursement, so he exceeded the budget, and they also had an increase in what they call investigative overtime. So what the finance director is requesting, what we've done in the past, is the transfer will come from the fire department, public safety, to the police department to make up this line item.
Yeah, and I've seen this go the other way as well, from
Oh,
police to
exactly. Oh, yeah,
fire.
it has gone the other way, yes.
All right.
So that's that one. The second one is the highway department, I believe. What happened there is they had to repair one of the street sweepers, and it cost in excess of $20,000 to repair, so that was unforeseen. This is going to be a transfer line item to line item within the highway department. So it's
Yes.
within his budget, just, again, from another line item. And the final one is the,
Oh, there's two more, right?
yeah, actually, it's two more. It's Vernon Grove. It's the same entity. And what happened here, they had basically an unanticipated number of burials during fiscal year 17. They also had three major breakdowns this year with their equipment that needed to be fixed. So what the finance director is recommending here, they're going to transfer $760 from their, drop it down from their salary and wage to the general expense budget. There's another $150 they need to make up the difference, which is $910 total. So they want to transfer that from the health insurance to their general expense fund. They just don't have enough within
Okay.
the salary and wages. So it's three departments, but you're right, 4 different transfers.
Yeah, and no worries. With your explanation, there's clarity. We have our packet for a few days, and or a couple of days anyway, and get an opportunity to review this. Don't always get the opportunity to call. In the future, when we do transfers, I wonder if, it'd be a good idea to have, just a brief blurb on each of the
I
transfers.
can give you
and
the
what
backup that I
necessitates it.
was
Yeah.
obviously reading from.
All right.
Yes.
All right, that helps us.
Yep.
Is there a motion?
Motion to accept.
I'll also second that's unanimous for those transfers. Next, we have Fire Department, acceptance of a gift. There is a gift to the Fire Department being made by Benjamin Moore Company for $2,500. That's very generous of them. Is there a motion to accept?
Motion to accept the gift from Benjamin Moore of $2,500 to the town of Milford.
And we thank Benjamin Moore, and we know that a letter will go out to them thanking them. Next, we have correspondence. Warren Heller, resignation from the Personnel Board, and I'll read this. It's to Chairman Kincaid, who's not able to make it this evening. Please accept my resignation, a member of the Personnel Board, effective immediately for the reason I've recently moved to West Boylston. Last night, the day this was written, June 22nd, was bittersweet for me as I attended my last meeting as a member of the board. I was appointed to the Personnel Board in November 1996 at the same time as former member Clark and Hearn, and I have the pleasure of serving with many dedicated conscientious board members and board clerks since then, as well as several boards of selectmen. I particularly enjoy your interaction with town employees under the jurisdiction of Article 2 and their various department heads, and that's signed yours very truly, Warren Heller. We obviously, Warren has been a tremendous contributor to this community, to the Personnel Board, as a town meeting member, and in various other aspects of government, and we want to thank him and wish him well in his future endeavors. It's regretful, but can we have a motion to accept his resignation?
Motion to accept.
And again, regretfully, we accept. That's unanimous. Next, we have from Arthur Moran, a resignation. Again, after a great deal of thought and contemplation, I'll be resigning my position at the Blackstone Valley Vocational Regional District School Committee, effective July 31st, 2017. Having been part of the Tri-Valley Tech family for 23 years, I've seen the school evolve and grow in so many ways. I am so proud to have served the students and the citizens of Milford over the years. I look back on my service with a great deal of pride for the many things Valley Tech has been able to accomplish while preparing our students to forge ahead in the skills that they need to be productive forces of society in the 21st century. It has been my distinct pleasure to have served as the Milford School Committee representative and wish to extend my appreciation for the town's loyal service to the youth of Valley Tech throughout the years. And once again, I don't want it to go by without acknowledging Artie Moran's contribution to this community, not only in this space, but in other aspects of the community. He's been involved and a valued member of the community, and we thank him for his years of service. And with regret, I'll ask you, Mike, would you make a motion to accept his resignation?
Motion to accept Artie's resignation from Blackstone Valley.
And I'll also second that. That's unanimous. Next, we have a resignation. I don't want to butcher the name. Lisa Bakayaki. Please let this letter serve the notice of the board that be moving from the town of Milford and be resigning from the Milford Board of Trustees effective August 1st, 2017. Again, she mentions that she's enjoyed her years of service to the library and the town and have also enjoyed serving my fellow members, past and present, of the board. Once again, we'd like to thank Lisa for her years of service, and with regret, I'll ask that a motion be made.
Motion to accept Lisa's resignation from the Library Board of Trustees.
I'll second that. That's unanimous.
We mail letters of thank you to people when they resign.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have on the agenda executive session with town council regarding potential land acquisition. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for those purposes.
Yes.
Second. And
Second.
it's seconded. That's unanimous. Also, I'll take a voice vote.
Yes.
I also vote in the affirmative. That's unanimous. We will not be returning to open session after executive session. Thank you very much.